Hey everyone, this is James from Rowing Books. If this is your first time embarking on reading Tolkien, then there's one essential thing that will virtually be needed at all times. We're talking specifically about the usual suspects here: The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, The Silmarillion, and even Unfinished Tales. The one thing you'll certainly be using as you read through the books are maps. Tolkien famously remarked before starting work on The Lord of the Rings, "I wisely started with a map and made the story fit." Indeed, Tolkien's secondary world is so dense, so complex, with different places and different languages, that even seasoned readers need to consult a map every now and then. Maps accompanying Tolkien's secondary world are crucial to the understanding of his stories, especially when it comes to The Lord of the Rings and The Silmarillion, where numerous characters spread over different locations start to cross over into each other's timelines. And it's at that point where you need to be aware of the geographical space the characters find themselves in. This will help you understand and orient yourself with various places: lands, mountain regions, woodlands, rivers that populate Middle-earth and Beleriand. Now, anyone who has ever read one of these books by Tolkien will soon realize that towards the end of the book, in fact towards the back cover, they will find maps such as this. This is pretty much in all editions of Tolkien's books, and there's a reason for that. In several videos now, I've outlined the importance of referencing these maps constantly throughout your reading. Whether you're a first-time reader or have been reading Tolkien for years, it's essential that you keep referring to the geographical layout of the story. In fact, I do this every time, especially when I'm reading The Silmarillion in this case. It's just so convenient, and it gets you into the headspace of the story as you read along. And at the same time, I feel it really enhances the scope of the narrative and broadens the vastness and the richness of the world as I consult the geography and I'm reading along. As I said, maps can be found in any editions towards the back here, but sometimes you might find them impractical, having to shift from the pages you're reading and towards the back of the book. That's why today we will be having a look at this book, The Maps of Tolkien's Middle-earth by Brian Sibley and John Howe. This is a neat 2-volume set which contains 4 major maps from Tolkien's world, presented in a massive poster-size format and richly illustrated by John Howe himself. So this is presented in this gorgeous slipcase with the design and the painting of Bag End, the interior of Bag End, and at the back we have the usual textual description of the book, and as we pull out the contents we find these 2 volumes. So the first book, which is a short book, mind you, is some background information written by Sibley himself on the design and the evolution of the maps created by Tolkien for his narratives. And together with this, you will also find an index with place names and a short description on each particular name that is found on all of the 4 maps. Besides, there are also illustrations by John Howe, which are usually in the form of pencil sketches, as you can see right here. And even with regards to the pages, they feel thin and easy to shift through. There we have some more beautiful illustrations by John Howe. So as I said, this particular volume is almost like a companion book to the actual maps themselves, with some brilliant insight from a renowned Tolkien scholar, Brian Sibley himself, who provides some very interesting observations on the maps and, as I said, the evolution of how Tolkien came to design from scratch these different maps. So that is the first volume. So as we move on to the second volume, I'm calling it a 2-volume set for some reason, but it does feel almost like that with the companion book and this book, shall we say, which contains the main attraction itself, the 4 maps. So it's a hardback cover with some gorgeous artwork, once again, from John Howe. Here we have an illustration of Gondolin. It's quite simple, the maps slide out, as you can see, from this rather plain book cover without any pages. And we have the 4 maps right here. So let's start off with the first map, which is that of Middle-earth. So let's open this up. So one thing to note is that, these are, as I said, massive poster-sized maps. And it's also interesting to note that they are in full color and also richly illustrated with vignettes and scenes depicting salient moments from the story of the map it's depicting. So for instance, in this case, it's Middle-earth. So we have these vignettes from The Lord of the Rings. Again, all of these illustrations are by John Howe. So as you can see, this is the perfect map to be using whilst you're reading through The Lord of the Rings and even The Hobbit as well, with these different place names, and it's always useful to have, as I said, whilst you're reading along the story. So we have the second map now. This is from The Hobbit. And particularly it's a rendition of the map of Wilderland, which one finds at the back of any edition of The Hobbit. So we can see this massive map, beautiful rendition with Smaug along the borders here, and once again with this gorgeous rendition of Howe's An Unexpected Party. And I particularly love this painting for its evocative sense through the use of lighting and shadow. I think it's just brilliant here. So as I said, this is, besides the map of Middle-earth, when you're reading The Hobbit, this is the map to consult, especially since it concerns the second part of Bilbo's adventure as he crosses the Misty Mountains on his way towards Erebor. And the fact it includes the region of the Misty Mountains, together with the woodlands, the Forest of Mirkwood, and the Lonely Mountain itself. We now move on to another important map, that of Beleriand, and this is particularly synonymous with the Silmarillion and also Unfinished Tales. So let's open this up. One thing to mention is that these maps are just one-sided, so on the other side you just have a blank white sheet. Okay, so there we go. So again, a beautiful rendition of Beleriand. So we have all the important names in the story of the Silmarillion. We have Doriath, we have Gondolin, the Encircling Mountains, Hithlum, Mithrim, Nargothrond. It's quite detailed. It's based off on the original maps, which are to be found in the editions of Tolkien's books. They are a bit bulky in size, which makes them slightly awkward to maneuver, but ultimately, what are maps for? They're there to be unfolded, to be spread on a flat surface, and admire their beauty and their size. And that actually helps when you're actually consulting a map, rather than having it on a small A5 sized page, for instance. So, these give testament and justification to the word map. And the final map, which is quite a bonus in my opinion, is a map of the island of Numenor. So let's open this up. I mean, stunning, absolutely beautiful. Now, the island of Numenor featured in the Unfinished Tales, and it was based on a single drawing which Tolkien made of the island itself. Once again, the beautiful motifs of the sea along the borders here, with the ships of the Numenorians, the coast, the west coast, the east coast, all the features which are so synonymous with the Numenorians themselves. And this is particularly relevant if you're reading the Unfinished Tales, the first part of the Unfinished Tales, which deals specifically with the Second Age and the kings and queens of Numenor. So that's pretty much it. 4 essential, crucial maps as you're wading through and journeying through the dense and complex worlds of Tolkien in this handy, useful volume. Now, when we talk about maps, especially Tolkien maps, these are pretty much the essentials and any reader should find them satisfactory. However, it's good to note that for more serious readers and for those wishing to learn much more about the different geographies in Tolkien's world, especially at an academic level, they would be better off with Karen Wynne Fonstad's Atlas of Middle-earth, which I will be reviewing in a future video. This is pretty much the quintessential Tolkien map guide you will ever need. It's extremely detailed and dense and comes in this book format, but with literally hundreds of maps explaining each intricate aspect of Middle-earth, Beleriand, Numenor, and even beyond to Aman and Arda itself, in the confines of Ea, the universe. But this is for another time. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Next video will be an update on my Tolkien collection, which is right behind me here, in which I will be outlining all the books by or about Tolkien. So stay tuned for that in the coming days. In the meantime, like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.